Hello everybody and welcome to another unboxing video here on my channel. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, but today I have off. I don't have to go to the hospital, no chemotherapy, nothing like that for me. And so I thought I would film this. I'm actually waiting in the mail. Currently I have 7 more CDs coming to me that aren't going to be in this video because I'm filming it before I'm getting them, but I found a cool eBay actually I should check what it is. I found a cool eBay site that sells CDs for I think most of them are like $4. But if you buy, let's see if you buy. Oh shoot! It's asking me to sign in. Of course, it would do that now, which shouldn't. Anyway, if you buy 4 of them, you get 1 for free. So I went through this, what they have like 19,000 items listed on their eBay store. And I went through pages and pages of just like searching for genres of CDs, all sorts of things I could think of, individual bands, genres, just generic terms like synth and things like that. And I picked 4 CDs that I really liked, and I picked 5 of them. One of them was $7, so I got one of the $4 ones for free. But basically, I got for $20, essentially it's like $22. I got 5 CDs, and one of them was one I really wanted, new Mayday CD. I got an editor CD that I don't have, and then there's a there's a special English edition of not English, but like a European edition of a Japanese metal band that I never heard of that sounded pretty cool. Another band I never heard of that sounded pretty neat and I thought was interesting. And then what was the other one? Something else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Some metal, some electronic music, some rap, hip hop music in there as well. So I'm excited to receive those. And also just today I found out that I won 2 auctions on eBay from someone selling 2 library CDs for 32 cents each. I won the auction. I bid $3, but the next person bid 31 cents or 30 cents, I guess. So for 64 cents, free shipping, I got 2 CDs sent to me. So maybe I'll gather those CDs all together in a video and show those off in the future. But in this video, we're going to be talking about this package that I won an eBay auction of 16 metal CDs for $15. And I have one of the CDs already, and it's one of my favorite, actually heavy-ish albums of all time. And the rest of it was all stuff I really didn't know what it was at all. So I'm very excited for that. So that's the main point of this video and the reason I'm actually filming it. But I do have a couple other things that I've gotten recently in the mail here that I want to show off. I've had a lot of the time when I've been in the hospital to like peruse eBay and stuff on my phone. And one of the things I found out that they had is that Powerman 5000, it took me quite a while to find a copy of this album for less than $25. That was my goal. I was like, when they released this last year, 22 Night the Stars Revolt on vinyl, I thought I'm gonna get a copy of this because that's one of the seminal albums in my life and one of the most influential albums for me growing up and when I was in high school and everything, and which I was in high school from about 2000 to 2005 is when I graduated. So I guess I was 2001 when I was a freshman, but I graduated in 2005. And so Powerman 5000 was sort of right at the height of their powers in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then they had Anyone for Doomsday ready for release and canceled it, and then they released Transform, which I think is a fantastic album, maybe their best album. But their first sort of major label release, Mega Kung Fu Radio, they re-released earlier this year on vinyl. There's maybe like a month ago, less than a month ago. And it's been $30 everywhere online, same as Two Night the Stars Revolt. And I thought, if I can find this for less than $25, I'll go for it. And I actually found a copy on Amazon, is currently selling this for just $19. So this is my brand new copy of Mega Kung Fu Radio, the very first Powerman 5000 major label release. They did have an album that they released before this called The Blood Splat Rating System. It's impossible to find that. That was just a local sort of like independent release thing that they did in Boston, New York sort of area, the New England area. There are a couple copies floating around online, but I think it's mostly the same stuff. And then they did have an EP called True Force that was a release before this as well. I have that on CD, but this is their first sort of major label release. It's maybe my favorite Powerman 5000 album. Actually, this is when they were more. If you're only familiar with when Worlds Collide and maybe Nobody's Real from Powerman 5000, maybe there's songs that they had off of Transform, like Transform or free. Living so free is a tragedy if you can't be what you wanna be, right? Or even the album that they canceled, Anyone for Doomsday, Bombshell, right? Get up, get up, get up, drop the bombshell. That's right. That album was never officially released. That song was officially released on compilations and things, but they had a whole album ready to go and they canceled it. It was due to come out on August 28th, 2001, and they canceled it. And then September 11th happened, less than a month later, and they ended up canceling the whole album. Forgot. I think they postponed it first, and then they canceled it. But anyway, you can buy it. You can listen to it digitally now. So if you haven't heard any of the stuff I'm talking about, go check it out. But their first stuff, if you're not familiar with it, is they categorize themselves as funk rap metal funk or something like that. And that's absolutely what it is. It's very hip hop rap influenced, but with the heaviness is heavy, but it's heavy in a very sort of garagey way, kind of. And the funk aspect of it is like the bass and the aux percussion. They actually had a separate person in the band whose job it was to just play auxiliary percussion along with a drummer. And so there's all sorts of really cool stuff on this album. I absolutely adore this album from front to back. I think it is a perfect album. And it is either my first favorite album or my second after Transform, which I think is also just an absolute fantastic album from front to back. But I'm a big Powerman 5000 fan. So if you want to check out one song from this that's a good song to represent it, I would definitely check out Organized, which was their sort of bigger sort of song off of this album. But the whole thing is honestly really good, though there's a few songs on here that are a little bit different, like Swim with the Sharks or Bored With Ya, which are a little bit different and wouldn't be a good representation of the album as a whole. But this album is fantastic as a whole. So I wanted to show this off just while I got it here. I just opened this for the very first time last night when I was filming a video with Chris Parker, and the booklet, the pictures and things that were in the booklet of the CD, which I of course do own as well. But they kind of retooled everything for this, which is nice. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show this off really well, but the vinyl itself is just gorgeous. This is one of the most. Oh, actually, you know what I haven't done? Let's do this. The vinyl itself is one of the most gorgeous vinyls that I have. Here, let me turn that on behind me and then see if I can get out of the way and show you the actual color of this. It's like a cerulean blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to see on the video here, but it's like a cerulean blue with black marbling, and this is probably the most gorgeous vinyl that I have now. I've got some really crazy colored vinyl and things like that, and it's a thinner one. It's not 180 gram, which is the sort of thicker, better sounding records. But I didn't get this because I'm going to listen to it a lot or anything. I got this because I can put it on the wall behind me and have it up there and be special. So I will be doing that. Listen to that static. I'll take that sticker off there. This is just so cool. I'm so glad that they released this. Powerman 5000 is not a huge band, so this is just them doing this all themselves. So very cool that they did this, and I'm so excited that I got a copy of this. And as far as I know, this is still just $20 on Amazon. So if anyone has a vinyl collection and you want to get a great record, I would recommend that absolutely. Now I also have here at the one of the hospitals that I've been going to get my chemotherapy over the last the last month and a half, basically. We've been going there every day, and I looked online to see if there was a record store we could go to anywhere on the way there. Basically, we have to drive from where we live on a farm in rural Nebraska about 40 minutes to the city limits, and then we have to drive another 45 minutes or so completely all the way through Omaha, which is a city with a population of over 1 million people, if you include all the area together. And so it's quite a distance driving. We just drive sort of highway out on the outskirts and then a highway that goes right through. So it's not a bad drive for us, but. Anyway, I was looking online to see if I could find any record stores that were sort of close to the route that we take so that we could stop there one day on the way there or on the way back. And I could just go to a record store. And I found one that was very near to the actual hospital that we've been going to. And so the other day when we got the news that my stage 1 treatment went so well, we were skipping stage 2 and going right to stage 3. The doctor, doctor shook my hand and said, "You guys need to go celebrate." And it was Ash Wednesday, so we didn't celebrate that day. But the next day, we came back into town, and I had been looking online, and I found this record store. And so I was like, let's go to this record store, and then we'll find somewhere to eat down there. So we went to eat at this place called Luigi's Italian restaurant in downtown Bellevue, Nebraska. And the restaurant was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I had the best Alfredo sauce I've ever had in my life. I had Alfredo linguine, or I think linguine Alfredo, chicken Alfredo pasta, and it was so good. It was so creamy, and I absolutely loved it. And we were the only people. My mother and I were the only people in the whole restaurant, so it was a very nice experience. Not that I would mind a restaurant full of people. That would be nice too, but. But anyway, that was great. But right across the street from there is this little record store, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those record stores where everything is organized a little bit, but everything is just like, it's like the store itself is kind of like unorganized, piles of things everywhere. Everything's just maybe slightly dirty. There was like a cat sleeping in the corner. My favorite type of record store where you have to dig through stuff. And so I'm really weak right now, and I was shifting boxes and boxes and boxes of CDs, going through everything, and I found so many Metallica CDs, you guys. It was absolutely incredible. Every Metallica album was there for sure. And I only found one copy of Saint Anger, though, which right now Saint Anger is the only one I don't have on CD. And it was a copy that didn't have the DVD with it, and the disc was really scratched, so I didn't buy it. But at this place, all the CDs were $8, which is kind of a bummer because I'm used to buying CDs at Goodwill for like 50 cents, or online if I can get them for less than $6 if I can, or whatever. I'm always on the search for a good bargain when it comes to CDs. But if when every CD is $8 and you're looking for things and you come across some things that are a little bit harder to find, which as a CD collector, everything is getting harder and harder to find nowadays. It is very hard to buy CDs for cheap, especially hard to buy them online for less than $5 because almost everything is $4 minimum shipping. So, if you can win an auction like I did for 60 cents and have free shipping, that's amazing. That's the person who posted those being kind of silly. They should have said a minimum of $4 at least. But anyway, I ended up going through this record store, just looking at the CDs. I didn't look at any of the records. That'll be something I do next week when I go there with my cousin. Hopefully Cody gets to come visit, and we get to go to this record store again and have a couple hours there to look. But I did buy some CDs there. I bought this stack of CDs, and I was just going to show these off. So again, all of these were $8 minus this first thing, which I'll show you, which I looked it up on Discogs and thought it was pretty cool. But this is a single of Depeche Mode. It's their song Stripped, which I really, really like. And the songs, there's 5 songs on here. Stripped, the Highland mix, But Not Tonight, an extended mix. Then 2 songs that I don't really know, Breathing in Fumes and Black Day. And I'm sure I've heard those because I'm pretty sure I've heard every Depeche Mode song, at least that I'm aware of. But those are 2 sort of songs that are B-sides for this. And then there's the quiet mix of Fly on the Windscreen, which is a song I also love. But Stripped, But Not Tonight, and Fly on the Windscreen are all songs off of one of my favorite Depeche Mode albums, Black Celebration, from 1986, the year I was born. And I thought this just looked really cool. It caught my eye, the fact that it says Maxi CD here. This is an international version. It's an import from Germany, I believe. And when I looked it up on Discogs, it was worth quite a bit. I think this is worth like maybe $25 or so, maybe even substantially more on the high end. And when you look stuff up on Discogs, it always gives you a minimum amount that it's sold for, a median amount that it's sold for, and a maximum amount. And nowadays, when you look online, the maximum amount sometimes is ridiculous, and usually that indicates something that was maybe autographed or something, depending on what it is. But the median amount is usually not very accurate in terms of what you could buy it for now, because if you look at the median amount, it might say, someone bought a copy 10 years ago for $1, but someone also bought a copy for $40, so the median amount is like 20. Well, if you go and you look, there might be only like 1 or 2 copies being sold from Europe, and it's like $25 shipping plus $6 US dollars to actually purchase the thing. So the median value is not necessarily a good representation for what it would be to replace the CD. So anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't need to get into that, but I thought this was worth it. This was $5. Normally I don't buy singles, but I have bought over the last few years several Depeche Mode singles, and I think the artwork is always really cool. And I already own all of the Depeche Mode albums, so it's kind of a nice way to keep my Depeche Mode collection growing. And there are some really cool songs on these singles. And I know you can buy collections and stuff where they've been releasing the singles on like vinyl and CD and stuff like for a whole bunch of money. But there is something really neat about these singles, these like half width CDs, and it's just kind of a neat thing. So I thought for $5 it was worth it. Then I was looking, and there was a sort of a metal rock section in this store, and it was on like a rotating, circular rotating CD holder that was from the floor all the way about to my height, which would be sure great to have that here and to use as storage and to just have. But I was looking, and there were several CDs there. There was copies of Powerman 5000 albums. There was all sorts of things, and there's one album that I have, a Spine Shank album I have that I bought the edited version of when I was in high school. And I enjoy listening to that, but I've always wanted to get the unedited version of it because one of the songs on there has a lot of swear words in the chorus, and it's one of my favorite songs, and it would be neat to hear that song without it being the edited version, but that's neither here nor there. Those of you that follow my channel know that I'm a stickler for clean versions and things, and I have a lot of very rare CDs that are clean versions of albums that they didn't sell very many clean versions of, or at least that didn't survive. So I have lots of Rob Zombie, like Methods of Mayhem, things like that the clean version isn't even listed on Discogs. So I have a lot of that stuff. But anyway, in that section, there was one CD that I bought that I was like, okay, I'm going to get this. And I put many things back. The way this guy had his CDs organized for the most part was that he had these boxes that the CDs fit, 3 rows of CDs fit nicely in. And so he would just have these boxes stacked on top of each other. And it kind of was just listed like this is rock, pop, general. And so I would look through a box and look through it, and almost every box had like 2 or 3 or 4 things in it that I would love to get. And if they were $4 each, I would have probably bought 20 CDs and spent a lot more money. But the fact that they were $8 each, that's pretty steep. That means for me, you have to find something that's really special. And so one of the first things I found that I got that I was like decided that I was going to get was this deluxe copy of Shinedown's album, The Sound of Madness. I have Shinedown's first 2 albums on CD. I've never listened to them. I bought them used at a CD or garage sale or at Goodwill or something for nothing. But I remember thinking that some of their singles from this album sounded really good. I remember someone telling me that this was a really good album. And then I remember seeing that they released this deluxe edition that has 20 songs on it, plus a bonus DVD of them doing stuff live and music videos and everything. And so I've been keeping my eye out for this black deluxe edition of the album for years, and I haven't found it anywhere for relatively cheap. But I thought for $8, I found it. I had it in my hand. You know, it's something I have found at a store, tangible. I could look at the discs. They look really great. Both discs are in there, and so I thought, okay, I'll do it. Actually, is the booklet in there? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and so I thought I'll do it. So I have not listened to this, nor the first 2 Shinedown albums, nor any Shinedown album. So if Shinedown is a band that people would be interested in us doing on the channel, let me know. I have their first 3. I've been wanting to hear this album for a long time. I know like Devour, and then the only other song on here that I think I've heard at all is The Crow and the Butterfly maybe. And I think I heard it on the radio, and that was the song that had like strings and stuff in it. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is really cool. And I might even be wrong with that. I don't even know. So if this is something that anyone would be interested in, us doing Shinedown, specifically this album, comment, let me know, and I'll do maybe a reaction to this album. So this is the one thing that I picked out that I was like, okay, for sure I'm getting this. And then I was looking around, and I found all these cool things. I had 3 21 Pilots CDs I was going to get. And I had them in my hand, and I carried them around for a while, and I was like, no, I think I can get these for cheaper than $8 each. You know, at Walmart, they're probably like $11.99 brand new. And so I put them back, and I was just looking, and I was talking to the guy who owned the store, and he was helping me look through different things. And behind the counter, he had like a line of metal stuff. So I was pulling all this metal stuff out looking, and he was like, here, why don't you come with me? And so we went to the back, and he showed me where he's been keeping all of the CDs in the back of this, the 80s, 90s, and 2000s pop rock music. And he just had a wall full of these these boxes that I just had to pull out, kind of like set on my knee and look through. And then as I went down the shelves, I sat on the floor and looked. And I was absolutely exhausting myself. Again, this is after getting chemotherapy this day and being tired. And I rug burned my knee and everything, and it was great. It was a great time. I absolutely loved it. We were there for almost 2 hours looking, and I loved it. But I picked out a couple CDs from the back there. These are more rare things, and some of them are a little older, and I'm excited that I got these. So the first thing that I'm going to show off here is VNV Nation's album, Praise the Fallen. This is their album from 1999, and this is this is now the earliest, I believe, the earliest. Maybe I have something from theirs from before this, but this is a VNV Nation album I did not have, and so this helps me complete my VNV Nation CD collection, which is really great. For $8, this is a pretty good price for this CD. VNV Nation is an electronic band. They're really great. If anyone wants to look them up, look up their album Control. I think that's maybe their best album. But also Of Power, Faith, and Glory is another one of their albums that's really, really great. If you just want to look up one of their songs. Oh, Control is a song. But Nemesis is another great song. That's off of their album Judgment. Any song off of Power, Faith, and Glory is a really good one. That's a good, solid album from front to back. They also have an album with the orchestra that you can listen to. Their most recent couple albums are a little bit more disappointing, and I don't even know if I would enjoy their sort of earlier stuff like this, but it's nice to have it to complete out my collection. So this is VNV Nation with Praise the Fallen, one of their earlier albums. It was the only VNV Nation CD there, so that was really nice to find that. And then I found they had, and I need to look these up, but there's a band from the 90s, an electronic industrial sort of band, kind of like Nine Inch Nails, called Curve. And I found out about them because they had a song in the Frequency video game that came out in like 1999 or 2000 on the PS2. And I really liked the song. It was like heavy guitars, female vocals, rock, very 90s sounding, but rock, industrial, sort of electronic, heavy. And so over the years, I've been keeping an eye out for any of their music, and it's very rare to find CDs of theirs ever. And I have 2 of their albums. One of them's called Cuckoo, I think, unless this one's Cuckoo. No, this is Cuckoo. I have one of their albums called Cuckoo, and it's interesting to listen to. It's not my favorite thing, but it's an interesting album to listen to. I listen to it every now and then, every few years or so. But I found 2 of their albums, and they actually had a series of imported singles there as well, which I think are probably very rare. And I didn't look them up, but I bought 2 of their albums, Come Clean, which has one of their big singles on it called Chinese Burn. But this is a full album, 13 songs. I never see CDs from this band anywhere. Even when CD stores were still a thing and you could actually go into a store and purchase CDs, I never see anything from Curve ever. And so I was excited to see like 5 CDs of theirs, these 2 full-length ones. This is one of their albums called Public Fruit. No. Might be Pubic Fruit. Interesting. Anyway, this is a series of 4 EPs and then an additional track. So this is like a combination, or 3 EPs. It's 4 EPs. So it's 13 songs. It's 3 EPs, and then I guess from a bonus EP. So this is just sort of like a collection of EPs, and this is really neat. This is from 1991, so this is sort of earlier stuff of theirs. And then 1992, Come Clean is from 1998, I believe. Yeah, 1998 is when this album actually came out. So quite a bit of distance between these 2 things here. And then the Cuckoo album I have is, I think, from 1995. So it's the album that came out in between these. But this is sort of a collection of their earlier works that was re-released later in like 1992. So these are both, I think, pretty rare CDs to have. If anyone's familiar with this band, let me know what you think of them. I'm excited to listen to these. I haven't listened to them yet, but I'm excited to listen to them. and to add them to my collection of Curve CDs, which I now have. And then the last CD I have is the thing I'm most excited that I found. Whenever I'm in a place like this where there's just a ton of things available for me to look through, my brain like basically goes numb and blank, and I forget all the music I've ever heard or anything I've ever wanted to look for before. And so I just end up going alphabetically through stuff and looking and hoping I find something that's interesting or that catches my attention or that I recognize as something that I would need or that would be cool to look at. And I was looking through and I found, believe it or not, a copy of a Deer Hunter CD. So for those of you who don't know who Deer Hunter is, they are a very cool sort of progressive rock, progressive alternative rock band. I know them from doing a project called The Color Spectrum that they did, where they did a series of EPs, each EP based off of one of the different colors on the color spectrum, color wheel. And I went to see them live at one of their shows when they came through Nebraska back when I was still going to shows when I lived in Omaha, and got them to autograph a copy of their album. And I wish at the time I had known how hard it would have been to get a hold of any of their albums on CD, and I would have bought more of their albums. I would have bought their whole catalog that they had, but I only bought a copy of their first album for $5, and then for $25 I bought a copy of the Color Spectrum, the entire EP collection that comes with a DVD that's like the making of it, and each individual EP on 4 CDs. So I have that. And since then, I haven't gone back yet. I've kind of almost been saving it for my reaction channel, even though I don't think that the Deer Hunter is a big enough band really to justify doing it. But I haven't actually listened to any of their albums, Acts 1 through 5. I haven't heard those yet, even though I have a CD copy of, actually an unopened CD copy of Act 1. And so, anyway, they are a really cool band, and they do lots of really cool music from the things that I've heard. But most recently, they released an album 2 years ago called Antimai that is a phenomenal album. And had I listened to it more at the time, it would have been on my list for that year, but I just didn't discover that they had an album out until towards the end of the year, and I didn't listen to it enough to do it justice to put it on my list. But this is an album of theirs that's not in any of the series of albums that they do. They do like a big story, this big sweeping story called Act 1 through whatever. And this is just a one-off of theirs called Migrant. And so this is really cool that I found this. This is probably their CD that is the most prolific. So like you can find copies of this on eBay for like $15 or whatever. But to find this in a store was really very special. And I'm very excited that I found it and that I have a copy of this now. And so I have not listened to this. So if people want me to do the Deer Hunter here on the channel, they are one of the bands that I would be willing to start from the beginning and listen to their whole catalog, if it was something we could post with the music in it, and if it would get enough views. It'd have to get over 1,000 views. Each video would have to get at least 1,000 views, I would think, to make it worth it. Not that the views are all that matter or anything, but if I'm going to spend 9 hours working on a video, 8 to 9 hours working on a video, including editing and uploading and posting and making a thumbnail and all that stuff, I want to make sure that people are going to see it. But I'm going to save this. I won't listen to it for a while and see if people comment on this video or whatever, just mentioning that I got this, if people want me to do a reaction to it, or just start at the beginning of their catalog and do some Deer Hunter. I would love to do that. So that's the stack of CDs that I bought at this really awesome record store. I absolutely adored it. If I go and we find some stuff next week with my cousin Cody, we'll do another video like this, and maybe we'll take some pictures while we're there, and I can show some pictures of the store and shout them out in the video when we film that. So I just wanted to mention those. Very excited about all of those. I think that they're going to be fun to listen to when I get around to them. So here is the bulk of this video. This big package that I bought off of eBay from Trade Post Entertainment. I was very excited when I found out that Trade Post has been posting basically lots of CDs together in genre, and so this was just 16 metal CDs and I got the bid for $15. No one bid on it. And 15 was the minimum. So I bid $15 on it, got it, and I think it was free shipping. So it's $15 total for 16 metal CDs, one of which I already have, I think. And so they had other lots of music, no other metal lots, and some of them were selling for more than I would have thought, and some of them weren't selling at all, and no one was bidding on them. But they weren't really great CDs in there. And there was no other lots that I thought was worth me bidding on. But I'm excited to look. And if you're unfamiliar with what Trade Post Entertainment is, in the Midwest, it used to be called CD Trade Post. Then they changed to Trade Post Entertainment now. But they're just kind of like a store that's kind of like a GameStop, but they mainly focused for a while at least on selling CDs and music. Now they sell CDs and vinyl and video games and movies and everything, and they always did sell those things, but they're less focused on CDs now, obviously. No one would focus on CDs with their business anymore. Their business would fail. But so I was really excited. I belong to their Facebook page, and the guy that runs their Facebook page probably knows me because I'm one of the only people that comments on their videos, actually. But so I'm just going to go through and pull these out, and we're going to see. There's no bubble wrap or anything in here, so they were just kind of thrown haphazardly in here. But I don't think they did. None of them look too broken. But again, for $15, this is a pretty hefty package. It says, I don't know if it says how much it weighs on here, but it's a pretty hefty package, and I got a good deal for the $15. So I'm just going to go through and pull them out one at a time, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so the first thing I pulled out is Fate's Warning, Inside Out. So this is from 1994, Fate's Warning, Inside Out. Disc looks absolutely perfect. I've heard of Fate's Warning, but I don't know anything about them. In my head, I think 90s, sort of maybe hair metal-y, but they definitely look grungy or whatever here. But I don't know anything about them. So, very cool. Next one, Helmet. A band I've been interested in a little bit. I thought... So Helmet, this is the album Aftertaste from 1997. Now Helmet does have a song that I really liked a lot called See You Dead. That was a really great song. And I've been interested in Helmet a little bit, but I've looked them up every now and then and never been like super impressed with discs look great. I'm sure they were probably all cleaned there. So, So anyway, Helmet, there you go. This CD looks familiar to me. A lot of CDs I recognize from working at a record store for a long time in the CD department. So Helmet and Fate's Warning, two older CDs. I thought most of them were more modern CDs, so we'll see what we end up getting. Okay, here is Geezer, Black Science. This is a 90s thing too. What the heck? I thought this was mostly modern stuff, but maybe there was just a few of them in the row. So this is from 1997, a band called Geezer, which is a cool cover here with the cutout there. Hello. So yeah, I don't know who Geezer is at all. I don't know anything about him. The 90s again. Produced by Geezer Butler. So whoever Geezer Butler is, probably a dude from a famous band that I should know. And well, there you go. Geezer, Black Science, the name of the album. Did they send me the right one? I wonder if they sent me the right one. Because I don't think I would have ordered any of these. Interesting. Okay, well, this is the band Chlorine. Or Chlorine, I think, from the album Primer. Or Primer. They definitely look like a late 90s, early 2000s band. Oh, yuck. 1999. I'm starting to wonder if this is the right... This is cool. Damsel. I don't recognize this as being something that I ordered. I wonder if they sent me the wrong package. Dead Famous by the band Damsel. This looks like some sort of a local thing. What is this from? And by local, I mean like independent released. Where was this recorded? Melbourne. So Australian band. Interesting. I'm curious to look into that. Damsel. I'm starting to... Here's the band Nora, Dreamers and Dead Men. This is Trust Kill. This is probably some screamo stuff. I think I've heard of the band Nora. So this is definitely metal from 2003. Aha, okay, so this is the right thing. So here is Apartment 26, Music for the Masses. This is one of my absolute favorite albums of all time. If you've never heard of this band or heard this album, I highly recommend. It is a very, very, very unique album of heavy music, new metal, with a swing vibe to it. Amazing keyboards, amazing production. Really, really, really good. This is absolutely one of my favorite albums of all time. And I already have, I think, maybe 2 copies of this. So I can gift one to someone else now if I come across someone that I think would like it. Gloritone, Cup Runneth Over. This also looks like something from the 90s. Boy, they screwed me with all this 90s music here. I guess that's what I get for not looking too deeply into some of this stuff. But who knows? Maybe some of it will be really great. So this is the band Gloritone, Cup Runneth Over. Don't know anything about them at all. I want to say I think I looked some of this up and listened to little samples, and I was like, oh, that might be kind of interesting to hear. So that's Gloritone with Cup Runneth Over. And then we have Happiness is Fiction, My Fate. This looks like it could be industrial-ish, kind of, metal band. This looks... Finvox Studios. So this looks... this looks like it could be... Keyboard and programming. So this sort of a Finnish or Scandinavian metal band here. At least it seems like it was where it was recorded. Don't know much about this. This is from 2004. I don't know. This looks really interesting. The disc looks very cheap. But, you know, the disc probably maybe was manufactured somewhere other than the artwork. But this looks interesting. This could be sort of a Children of Bodom type of thing. Could also be way not that at all. Could be screamo, emo, something. Here we have Down with the Ship, Looking Forward. Oh, this is cool. This is cool artwork. Down with the Ship, Looking Forward. From Face Down Records, so this is probably more hardcore. Very interesting. The disc just on a spindle here. Interesting. So there's only one, two, three, four, five, 6 songs on here. So this might technically be categorized as an EP, but still very cool. Here we have Dynasty, Truer Living with a Youthful Vengeance. This looks like some punk or hardcore music for sure. With this picture on the back here. Dynasty. Interesting. Same kind of thing as this last thing. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So interesting. This is from the album Strike First Records, but it's the same type of packaging as this, with the CD on this like spindle in the middle. Very interesting. This, I would just guess in looking at it that I probably won't like that much, but maybe it'll be my favorite thing. Who knows? So, interesting. Okay, Dynasty. I Set My Friends on Fire, Astral Rejects. This is probably super heavy. I think this is one of the ones I looked up. It's got a really interesting cover. Epitaph Records, 2011. I Set My Friends on Fire. Interesting. Chad and... Oh, Chaos Breed. Chaos Breed. I thought that said Chad and Breed. Look at that logo. I thought it said Chad and Breed. Chaos Breed. So this is actually from a record label, a record of KBTL. I wonder where that would be. This is the album Brutal by Chaos Breed. Interesting. So this is a promo copy that was probably printed off by the band and shipped out, or at least maybe from the record label, which looks like it's Olympic Records, olympicrecordings.com, which is part of an offshoot of Century Media. Interesting. Okay, so this is, judging by the names, all Norwegian or Scandinavian. Sorry to lump all Scandinavia together like that, but... Oh, okay, interesting. Members of Chaos Breed, formerly of the Black Lead, Sentenced, sweet, Amorphous, Gandalf, Amorphous. So this could be sort of slower, sludgier stuff. So that's kind of cool. Some of the songs titles are crossed off with black marker on the back there, so I guess the station wouldn't play them, but interesting. This could also be super black metal. It says brutality, insanity, mutilation. This is the horrifying mission statement from Finland's Chaos Breed, a fine-tuned, destructive killing machine whose goal is to teach mankind a lesson about the real nature of death metal in true Scandinavian style. So there you go. I guessed right without even reading it. Now we have Obey the Brave, Salvation. This is really cool looking album artwork. I absolutely love that. This also might be a promo copy. 12 songs. Oh, I love this. I love the artwork. I love this style of artwork. Look at that disc. Look at that. This is awesome. This is the coolest looking thing. It'll probably be some garbage music. I don't know, but... A lot of lyrics in here, so I wonder if there's some hip-hop-y stuff in here. I don't know. A lot of lyrics, though. I like that. I like that. This is the coolest looking thing. Obey the Brave. All right. I think there's only a couple things left. Aha! Megadeth. Countdown to Extinction. Well, there you go. I have a Megadeth CD. I think this is actually my second Megadeth CD. I have one of their albums from like 2002 or something. And this is 1992. So Countdown to Extinction. I think this is one of their big ones. Case is cracked, but... This has Symphony of Destruction on it, which I think I've heard of. I don't know if I've heard any of this, though. So, there you go. Megadeth. And then I think the last thing in here... A love ends suicide in the disaster. A love ends suicide. Don't know. Probably some hardcore thing. Metal Blade Records, High Impact Records. Not a big fan of this artwork. What kind of music do these dudes make? Christian rock? Hardcore? Emo, screamo? Vocals, guitars, bass, vocals, keys. So they have at least some of the... mixed it for the record studios in California. Interesting. Metal Blade, like I said. Okay, all right, well, 11. All right, well, I will say, when I buy something like this, I tend to not pay too much attention to it because I want to wait and like see it in person to like be excited about it. And having looked at this stack of CDs now, I'm a little bit disappointed. However, like I want to reiterate, for $15, this is an absolute awesome stack of CDs. For $15 to get 16 CDs like this, get out of here. If I like one of these albums, it would be worth $10, if nothing else. And some of these are probably tougher to find things because there's more obscure metal or hardcore or, whatever genre they are. So yeah, and 90s CDs aren't super hard to find because obviously the 90s are like the decade when the CDs were the most prominent form of media. Maybe not as much as the 2000s. Like when I was growing up, everything was released on CD. The CDs were everywhere, in every store and grocery store and everything. You could buy any of the big CDs, big albums on CDs. In the 90s, the early half of the 90s, you could still buy a lot of things on cassette tape. And I can even remember into the late 90s going to the store with my friend and having him decide, he only had $10 and he really wanted to get the Rob Zombie album Hellbilly Deluxe, and he had the CD in one hand and the cassette tape in the other, and he couldn't afford the CD, so he bought the cassette tape. And so I remember that being a specific thing, and that was in 1998. So that tells you how long cassette tapes were kind of lingering on. I remember going to Walmart and them having big rows of cassette tapes, and then mixed in with the CDs, off to the side. There was less cassette tapes, more CDs, but the CDs always, I think, cost more than the cassette tapes. And so I can remember that being a thing almost all the way through the 90s. So that's interesting to think about. But it's a lot easier to get a hold of stuff from the 90s and the early 2000s because there were just so many more copies of all the CDs printed back then, because it was the main form of media. Just like nowadays, it'd be harder to find it's harder to find CDs that were released over the last 5 years because they just made far, far fewer of them. So, all right, I see this video is 50 minutes long. Didn't need it to be that long, but hopefully if anyone knows anything about these bands, or if I mentioned something that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, what a lucky find, definitely let me know in the comments. And then if someone wants to mention, or if anyone would be excited for me to do Shinedown or the Deer Hunter or any of the other stuff that I've mentioned on the channel, let me know. Now that I've got this package and I've opened it, I might start going through some of this stuff and listening to it, because I'm sure most of it is not anything that I would want to really listen to. I could do a video where I just go through a whole separate video where I go through and just listen to some of this stuff, and we just listen to little samples of it and see how that would go, but that would probably be a nightmare for the YouTube copyright, so I probably won't do that. But if I find anything really awesome, I'll be sure to let you guys know in a future video. And if I get any other cool, awesome eBay auction wins like that, I'll make sure I do unboxings like this. I like doing stuff like this. So if that ever happens in the future, I'll do more videos like this if I can. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.